Yeah, it's nice to get that one off the back. It's obviously it's the first one away from home, and to contribute and put the team in a position like we did today was very nice.
So nice to get it off the back. Is it something that you have given a bit of thought to? Or?
Look, it's not something that you sort of sit there and think about all the time, but it's definitely something, obviously the reporters and the media obviously beat everything up a little bit more. So, it's something that gets spoken about, and it's nice to be able to score runs in different conditions and show people that that you can play in, not just bouncy, seaming or swinging conditions, but in against spin as well.
You have to construct your innings differently, not just in this subcontinent, but that pitch to the previous pitch as well. Were they that different? They looked a lot different.
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my preparation coming in for this game was actually done on a wicket that was going to be spinning from day one. So I actually had to adjust my game a little bit. And speaking to Steve out there and speaking to Uzi, we were just talking a little bit about trusting our defence a little bit more, being able to be a bit more selective rather than having to probably be as forward with your game as you were on the other wicket. When the wicket's going so big and it's so inconsistent, you have to take some chances and premeditate a sweep or premeditate running down the wicket. So, on that wicket, you could trust your defence a little bit more and use those other options as boundary options rather than surviving options.
Are you surprised what you got today, given what the last wicket was last match? Are you surprised it wasn't a bit more?
Look, yeah, there was certainly a little bit of talk about that just around the traps and some of the word we were getting that they were going to make it a better wicket. But I didn't really look at the wicket till today. So I didn't really try and invest too much in, but I certainly, coming in and that wicket was a lot nicer to bat on and just trust your game. Had to make sure that I adapted my game a little bit and didn't go as hard as I probably would have if the wicket was going big.
Having said all that, about being better wicket, Marnus, were you then surprised by what you
Yeah, it's one of those, like you're looking to come down the wicket and then, obviously that bit sharply and bounced high. But I mean, that's what spinning conditions are. I think you just know that there's going to be a ball like that and you've just got to trust your defence and really play your game in and amongst that. If you get a ball that gets you like that, you walk off and you go, well, that's in the game plan. You were playing a certain way and those were the risks you were taking, and that's an acceptable out on a wicket like that. So obviously very disappointed that I didn't go on there and on a nice wicket and make a really big score, but hopefully Smudgy's going to make up for lost time.
And does that ball give you some confidence that when Nathan and others get a chance on that wicket that big score behind you?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan spins it on glass, so I'm sure he's going to get some turn and bounce on that wicket. And same with Sweppo, they're both big spinners of the ball. So I think that's a real advantage for us where we got two bowlers that are probably going to put more revs on the ball than their bowlers, which is just going to create probably more of that inconsistent spin. But it is a nice wicket, so it's going to be a bit more of a grind and just being patient and, like you said, sticking to your process.
I was going to say, you mentioned Steve there. That's actually the first test innings where you guys have had 100 in the same innings together. Is that a bit of a surprise, given you've had quite a few substantial partnerships the last week?
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm sort of thinking about it. Yeah, there's usually one of us getting out and one getting a big score. So, look, it was really nice to spend some time again there. We haven't batted together, for probably 100+ run partnership in, maybe a few tests. I can't remember the last time, but it was nice to spend some time out there and just, build that partnership and sort of do it together and talk through it while we're out there. So.
And I was going to say, you both, different reasons, different circumstances, but do you think you both felt like you left some runs out there last week, and so it was nice to be in there for a long time?
Yeah, I think both of us felt like we've left some runs out there over the last fair few tests, so I think it was nice to cash in, when we got an opportunity. I mean, from last week, I was very disappointed, just going away from my process rather than the dismissal. I think you're going to get out on that wicket eventually, but you just want to make sure you stick to your process, and obviously Smudge got run out, so that would have been very frustrating. But yeah, like I said, I think he looked. I think the boys said this morning when he rocked up to the ground, he was in that the smudge headspace, and he looked locked in.
So just one on, you've been working, Barrett's written about this more than anyone, you've been working a lot on your kind of, slap sweep shot and sort of is it sort of lining up where you want the ball to be to play that shot and also sort of kind of placing it at will? Is that kind of it?
Yeah, for me it's just about I sweep on length, so as soon as I see it up out of the hand, I just adjust the sweep to where the line ends up. So if it's wider, it goes straighter. If it's straighter, it goes squarer. So for me, it's just all on length, and that's how I sort of play it. So yeah, I've been putting in a lot of work on that, especially in these conditions with a bit lower bounce, just making sure you get the hands low and you don't get beaten underneath the bat. The forward defence. The forward defence is the one. I think the other the last week's game, I think that was the shot we talked about as being the toughest on that wicket, was just defending, because you felt like every time you were defending, one's gonna explode or beat your outside edge or take your outside edge. So that was the one shot you could play today, and you could trust a little bit more. So you didn't need to put as much pressure on, because you were just able to build an innings more regularly. Last week, you had to be proactive, especially at the start of your innings, to get yourself in the game, put some pressure back on the bowlers to get those freebies. Yeah, you're spot on. I think you've got to prepare. I think a really good method is you prepare for the worst and then adjust if it's better. So we certainly we're probably 10 days almost on the same wickets, and they're just spinning consistently. There's bounce, inconsistency. So you really work hard when you're training and when you're working on your skills. And then when you get out there, hopefully, like today, we're obviously fortunate. We won the toss and it was a really nice wicket, and we were able to put a score on the board. But it could have been the same as last week, and we were prepared for that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think with someone of his calibre, he almost never feels like he's out of form. It's just for him, and the standard he's set for his almost 90 games is so high that when that standard drops a little bit, his expectations are still at that really high level. So he's just a very harsh critic on himself, and he's set a standard for Australia for the last 8-9 years. So I never feel like he's out of form. I never go, geez, he's not hitting the ball well. He's just maybe a bit short on runs, and then it's just confidence thing. Getting that one today, I think, is really going to open up the floodgates, and I think we could have a really big next how many ever 10 tests we have within the next year. I think it's just it's a nice relief to get the 3 figures.
Awesome. Thanks, John.